how does a combined visual work? And for this, I first want to go back to our overview. Here we have our line chart, right? And if you remember back when we started this module, you saw this Y2 thing here, or as it's called now, secondary values. This is what we will tackle next, and I'm referring to this as Y2, but keep in mind that Y2 is secondary values in your project now. For this, I'll go to cards and more, and first I want to have some kind of divider here in the page because these are cards, and here we have different visuals. For that, I go to insert, and here we can now insert shapes. And I would like to have, well, either a line, or let's maybe use a rectangle here. And let's make this a bit bigger from bottom to top, like this and like that, and a bit smaller. Yeah. Now, let's have a look at the fill. This should be white maybe, and maybe slightly transparent, so it will become a bit more grayish. And yeah, I think this looks all right. So let's now have a look at these combined charts. And combined charts means that we have two y-axes in our visual. For that, as we saw this option on the line chart, let's select a line chart here. And this looks a bit odd, so let's make it a bit wider like this here. We'll see if we need one or two, so let's maybe position it here. And as always, you know how the game works. We take our years for the axis, and we take our population here as the corresponding values. Not too spectacular, something we saw quite often in our report. However, now we have this Y2 option here for the second y-axis. And here we have absolute values, so we have counts for the population, also indicated here by our first y-axis. If I now take our female population share once again and add it as the Y2 axis, then our chart significantly changes. Because you can now see that the left y-axis was unchanged. We also have our line chart here. But we also have now a second line, this orange one, and a second y-axis with the percentage values. And this is how easy it is to create such combined visuals with two y-axes. And the great thing is also, you can of course tailor the y-axis because the range here could be too wide a bit. So you could select it, go to the format menu, go to the Y2 axis, and now down here, you have the option to define a starting and an ending value. And very important, as we're working with percentage values here, you cannot enter something like, I don't know, 94 dot something percent. You have to add 0.49 and let's say, I don't know, 75. Let's see. Oh, this looks really odd. No, it's not a good starting point. Let's say 6. No, also not good. 4 maybe? Yeah, you see, this is how you can approach this. 5. Yeah, like this. And an ending point could be 0.499. Or maybe even 0.5 to make it like this. So as you can see, you can then tailor your second y-axis also as you can do it for the left y-axis, by the way. So if we scroll up a bit, go to this y-axis, you can also define starting and ending data right here, but I think these look all right. And yeah, this is one way how to create such visuals. Besides these combined line charts, you also have the option to combine column charts and line charts. This is actually a default visual also of Power BI Desktop, and you can find it right here, this one, the line and cluster column chart. Select this one, and yeah, the positioning looks all right. So now in here we have an interesting option, you could say. We have this shared axis option. And what would be the shared axis here? It would be the years if you would recreate this visual from up here. So we could take the years and add it right there. Okay. Now we have to decide what our column data should contain. And we actually need the column values mainly. And the column values should be our population data, let's say, like this. Now we have a nice column chart here with all our population data. And for the line values, well, we need our share of the female population. So let's add this one right here. And now you can see that the chart looks a bit odd. Let's say it like this because the formatting doesn't work. So we can go to the formatting options and go to our y-axis. Now we don't have this y2 axis option, but we have the y-axis for the column as a first option. You can see it right here. And if you scroll down, very important, inside this menu, so you can see it again, we have these scroll option for the entire menu, and we have the scroll option down here. So you need to scroll down, up to here. And then at the end of this inner menu, you could say you have this show secondary option. Then turn this on, and now we have the secondary options available. And here we can now again define a starting value. And now I don't remember the ones we had above. So let's try this again. 49.5, 49.6. It's again too much. I didn't remember the data. My bad. And the end should be 0.5 maybe. No, 0.499. Right? Maybe even less, to be honest. 4985. 4988. Yeah, you can tailor this as you want to. I think the core idea became clear. With these options, you can easily create such combined visuals. And to conclude this chart creating part right here, I would like to create another page, this one, and I would like to create a so-called waterfall, because a waterfall is a visual which you, for example, use if you want to see what parts a certain value, for example, the revenue of different regions consists of. Waterfalls are again a default visual in Power BI Desktop, and you can find it here in this waterfall chart option. So let's click this and let's maybe make it a bit bigger as we have the space here. And now the waterfall has again some interesting options here, you could say. That's why I want to show it to you. But the main options are the category and the y-axis, because we could actually say we want to have our population split for a specific year, for example, for the different age categories that we created. For this, into the category field, we could take our age category here, this one. And now for the y-axis, we need what? Well, again, our population count. So let's take this and add it here. And here you go. This shows us now the breakdown of our population for the different categories. So adults, children, teenagers, young adults, and so on. To make this a bit more interesting, we could again add our year field right here and filter with the basic filtering for the year, with the single selection for the year 2020 again. And in addition to that, I would like to filter for a specific country. So let's say we take the country field, add it right here, and now I will just select Germany. This is where I'm coming from, so let's add this maybe this time. So now you have the total population of Germany of around about 80 million in 2020. And now, if you, for example, add the gender here as the breakdown field, then you get even more insights. Because then if you hover here, you see for this breakdown how the different categories will differ. You see that you have an amount of the female people in the adult population of 17 million and of 10 million for the seniors. This is the total change, and therefore you see how these two differ. Also the same thing here for the male, gender, and so on. Of course, this can be used for lots of other data types, but in the end, this is how such a waterfall chart is created. With that, we are almost done with this module. There are only two more things that I would like to show you. And these things involve, well, first our formatting, because as you know, the formatting for our visuals, as we did right here, is not applied to our visuals we created here. And I would like to show you a bit more about other visual types available in Power BI Desktop, which are beyond the limits we have right here. So this is how we will continue.